Welcome to the Hot Boxing Talk, South Africa's very own online boxing talk show. We spoke to Hayden Jones and Cyril Lahong about local and international boxing news. And of course, we had a special guest in the form of young prospect. We've had him before. We spoke to him again right here on Hot Boxing Talk. His name is Lerato Dlamini. This is the Hot Boxing Talk. No stranger to the Hot Boxing Talk. We are joined by very hot prospect Lerato Dlamini. We spoke to him towards the end of last year about his career and where he was going. At that stage, he was 1-1. He's now 3-1. And I've been very fortunate to cover your fights on SABC, the TKO. And this is one kid that I really promise is going to be a future star in South African boxing. Let's talk about your last fight against Jimmy Hamela when you knocked him out in the second round with a left hook. We all thought he was dead. Thank God he wasn't. Tell us about that experience, because what happened was you knocked him out with one punch. And the first thing you did was you didn't celebrate. You went right up to the referee and said, "Is he okay?" What was that experience like, knocking a guy unconscious like that?
It was a very tough experience for me, because I thought like he's dead, like it was my first time to see something like that happen, And
so sorry to interrupt. So if you've knocked people out before, but have you ever knocked someone unconscious like that before?
Nope, never happened. It was first time.
So the last time we had you on the show, you lost your first amateur fight. You went on to become a Springbok South African amateur champion. You lost your first professional fight. You've won 3 in a row, all by knockout. What can we expect from you? Fighting next week Thursday on the 17th of March in Pretoria against who? Who is a good fighter. It's a step up for you. How's that going to go first and foremost?
Well, first of all, it's going to be a very tough and interesting fight. Because I think this is a big test for me, because the guy has 8 fights, if I'm not mistaken, 4 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. So it's going to be one hell of a fight, but I'm ready for it,
So you're 22 years old, turning 22 this year. What do you want for your career? We know we spoke about championships and stuff. You're settling in nicely as a featherweight. Where do you see yourself in the featherweight division?
Wow, that's a very tough question. But I see myself fighting for the SC title one day, and featherweight it's a very competitive division, lots of tough opponents, guys like Omanisi, Sunjita,
Chafiru Munyai, Sipiru Vicheka.
See, it's a very competitive.
Hey, he's not calling them out, he's just saying that they're really talented.
Yeah, so and maybe I could get a shot with either one of them,
One day.
Yeah,
not
one
now.
day. It's not now.
He's a hot prospect. Catch his smoke next week on the 17th of March when he fights in the featherweight division in Pretoria. This is Lerato Dlamini catching up with us here on Hot Boxing Talk. It is that time of the week when I speak to the two gentlemen about boxing and nothing else but boxing. Hayden and Cyril join us here on Hot Boxing Talk. First, let's talk international stuff. Lucas Brown becomes the first Australian heavyweight champion. There's so many championships right now in the world, from Australia heavyweight champion stopping Ruslan Chayagev in Russia in a massive upset. What's your take on that?
Well, look, that fight, Lucas Brown, he's an underdog. And he came into that fight, he won the fight. But there's great talk of a fight between him and Joseph Parker with the whole New Zealand, Australian thing that's going on. And that could potentially be a good fight.
What does it mean for global boxing now? That there are a lot of world champions, specifically now in the heavyweight division. Louis Ortiz had a great win as well against Tony Thompson. We'll talk about that later. But where does he fit now in the picture?
Well, first of all, it gives a greater audience worldwide. Where does he fit in? I think he still needs to prove himself against other top fighters, but it's great. With the Australian dollar as well, it's a nice currency, so it's great. It's a great place for boxers to also go.
With Joseph Parker doing nothing wrong but winning now, the #1 contender in the WBO, this does set up a very awesome fight. How do you think that fight goes between Brown and Parker if it happens?
Look, Joseph Parker's got great hand speed, great hand speed, and I see it being too quick for. I don't think Brown's in the sort of shape to be able to take that sort of pressure.
What's your take on that?
I agree. I think Parker just takes that one.
Southpaw Louis Ortiz is the WBA interim champion. That title wasn't on the line last weekend. He stopped Tony Thompson, a good win for him. But let's be honest, Tony Thompson in his 40s, really not there anymore, is he?
No, he's not there anymore. Got dropped 3 times, so he was done.
Louis Ortiz, Cuba, fighting out of Miami, Florida, in the States. Where does he fit into the picture?
That's quite interesting, because I think a lot of guys are actually scared of him. He's a knockout artist. Where does he fit in? I think he'll give any of the top fighters a go. I think he might beat quite a lot of them.
And also at the age of 36, 37, he's kind of the danger man of the division. He's the kind of guy that you don't want to fight. Do you think guys like Anthony Joshua is fighting Charles Martin, and after that fight it's been proposed that he fight Joseph Parker, but do you think those kind of guys should stay away, or should they fight Louis Ortiz?
Okay, no, Joseph Parker against Anthony Joshua makes sense. They're both young, but Ortiz is a bit of a dangerous fighter, and Eddie Hearns is a good promoter. I don't think he would throw him in against a monster like Ortiz.
Okay, now Zolani Teti's fighting for the IBF International Bantamweight Championship under Frank Warren. This is his first fight. Well, the first fight that he fought under Frank Warren was a co-promotion with him and Branko Milinkovic. Where do you think Teti should be fighting? Does he move up to the bantamweight division? He's obviously going to win this fight, but how does he fare as a bantamweight? Do you think he should move up?
I don't know. I mean, it'll come down to which weight he's most comfortable at. But yeah, I suppose moving up also sets up for bigger fights, more high-profile fights. So it's not a bad idea.
Now, Hayden, there was talk about him on social media that he was going to fight Rigondeaux. Not a good move.
Not a good move, but it shows that his head is in the right place in terms of confidence. So I like to see that in the boxer.
And moving along, this Friday night we've got Mzonke fighting Bokolo for some reason. Bokolo, fighter 42 years old. I mean, when's he going to stop? He's winning fights that he shouldn't be winning. But how do you think this fight goes against Bokolo? Who can punch?
I think Mzonke just keeps going and just keeps going. So I'd never bet against him.
Hayden, would you agree that if he has one more loss, you would advise him, hey, that's it?
It depends on how he loses. So if it's a points, he can keep going. It depends on just how the fight goes. And so if he gets knocked out, then maybe 42, it's time. But he's got the jab of a very young, strong jab.
Probably one of the most underrated jabs in South African boxing today. Actually, one of the best. Let me ask you, Bongani Mashlangu fights Toto Lebi in a mouth-watering fight. Who's your pick and why?
Toto Lebi is too slick, but it's a really good fight. I mean, you can't write off Mashlangu either, but I think Lebi takes it.
Your take on that fight? Who do you think wins? It's such a sick, epic fight. I'm also kind of torn.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with Cyril on that. So, yeah, pretty much going the same.
So for once, or not twice, or 3 times they agree, the two gentlemen have spoken right here on Hot Boxing Talk. Well, that's the end of the show for Hot Boxing Talk this week. Catch us again next week from myself, Colin, Nomagan, Johnny Nathan, and Hayden Jones. We'll see you next week.